episode 6 of the 360 podcast, an all-round look at student-centered education. I'm Adrian Pumphrey, and today we're continuing to talk with our Director of Curriculum and Instruction, Brent Kaneft. We're talking about exciting new initiatives in teaching and learning here at the school. Enjoy the show.
Right now, I think that where we are in things with our faculty is this year we're really taking time to get comfortable with more observations. We have asked faculty to do 2 observations a semester, 4 total for the year. I'm observing everyone once a semester. The department chairs are observing. I almost said measuring. Observing, twice a semester, all there. So that, really everybody's going to get at least 6 observations this year, probably more because their colleagues are going around and observing them. And, that's an uncomfortable process. We haven't been used to that, right? People come into our classrooms as much as we are this year. And so really what we're focusing on this year is, when you do an observation, you tell me what you love about the course. Tell me what you heard the class. Tell me, as I've said it to many people, tell me what you'd steal and want to bring back to your own class and use. And some of that's around just building trust in our community that, observations are about development, not about, you're a terrible teacher, or you should have done it this way. I mean, I don't know how many classes I've been in my life where I thought I wouldn't have done it that way, and it still worked, and it still worked really well. And so again, it goes to show you that agency matters, right? And relationship with the kids and context. And so, and also I really very much doubt that, I want to see everybody twice. How many classes do they have? 180, more than
180
that.
days.
Yeah, 180 days. So I mean, 2 times I'm going to be in there, right? Well, those 2 times were bad, so you must be, it's ridiculous to think of it as a system that is supposed to tell you something that you're not doing that would hurt you in the long run somehow, professionally. It may be eventually a place where we say, hey, what if you did this? What if you try this? I didn't understand this. What about clarity here? But we got to build that trust first. That this is a system that is meant to develop you as a teacher, and that goes right along with the Wellington Engagement Index. That has had, we're getting used to that as well. And essentially that's measuring engagement in the classroom, and what we want our students to be is at that right level of challenge and that right level of enjoyment. Are they going to be there 100% of the time? No, of course not, right? There's going to be those moments where, they're challenged and they're not liking it and they're grinding it out. And there are going to be times when you're trying to entertain them and the challenge is not really there. Like my story this morning about driving to school was probably not very challenging, but, I needed to get their attention, so I thought, okay, this is a way to do it. And so... just holding ourselves accountable to see what the kids are saying about our classes, and not looking at it again in a way other than we want you to get better and we want you to use this information in a way that does that, in a way that allows you to reflect, in a way that allows you to open up conversations at the lunchroom table to say, hey, I wonder why this assignment led them to think it wasn't as challenging. In my last reading, my challenge level dropped, but my love it rose. I was like, what did I do? And what I had done was I gave them this free choice based on Laura and Liz.
Why are you blaming me here?
No, I'm not blaming you. I got the idea. I said, as there's so many English teachers who are doing the right thing and offering choice in their classrooms. And I saw Liz Omark do it. I saw Molly Cleveland, I think, did it. And then probably several others, and you've done it as well. I said, well, I need to do that too, So we're working on some Emily Dickinson poetry in class, which I really want to do with them because it's kind of tough. And outside of class, they got to choose, a book. And it fell, the time I gave them to read it was about 3 weeks. And there was a break in between there as well. And so I didn't want to give them homework over the break, so I expanded it to that 3-week mark. And what my kids told me was, you just gave us too long. It was not as hard, and I'm like, okay, well, I can use that. So maybe we can keep doing this activity, but maybe I shorten that, deadline a little bit so that it's a little more challenging for you and pushes you at that, that proximal level of discomfort. So it's that kind of thing that it should make you think about as a teacher on how am I going to increase engagement, how am I going to get that right level of challenge, and what do I need to change about my own practice, my own approach to these specific kids, because sometimes one section's really telling you something different than another section is. And what's the control there? Well, the kids are different.
Yeah,
and so the
class dynamic is huge.
Yeah.
Certainly in English class.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
So we gotta approach each class unique as a unique. So anyhow, yeah. So some of those things that are happening right now, I'm really excited about. Just thinking about this again as professionalizing our practice in and out of each other's classrooms, getting feedback from the kids is consistent and helpful. And just moving toward a model that is about development and not about more evaluation. Like, I'm going to write this down on a sheet and hide this file somewhere off with it that says something about you that's negative. So
well, through your observations of the teacher, seeing as you're now in everybody's classroom, which makes a lot of sense for your position, I think. Have you noticed any trends?
Yeah, so right now I've got about 10 more to finish to meet my obligation, and which shouldn't be too hard. We have about 3.5 weeks left. So I've been over 80 observations. And one thing that is really nice about this for parents to know is these are unannounced. Right?
Yeah.
So at the parent book club, I told the group there, I said, our teachers are exceptional. They really are, and I can tell you that because I've been in all their classrooms essentially. And I come on Fridays. I come on the day after a break. I come at 8:05 in the morning, and I just kind of mix it up based on really what I need to do to get all of these in and to get to these classes. And so I know that this is, in a general sense, this is what happens every day because they have no idea, when I'm coming. Now, of course, the 10 people who haven't been observed know it's coming.
Brent is coming.
Yeah, right. But I would say that
he's
there's
coming
just
for you.
I'll say this, there's so much that you see, but lately I've been so impressed by how our teachers handle obstacles or when mistakes are made. I just saw one this morning. Alison Osborne is a JK teacher, and she was showing a video about foxes, right? And I'm super excited. Yeah, and I was excited. Those kids love it, right? And the video doesn't work. And
classic.
Classic.
Yeah.
I mean, the technology, fails, and for whatever reason, and she doesn't miss a beat. And she goes to the bookshelf. She gets her book about foxes, and it turns into a reading lesson, and not just watching the video on the foxes and getting some recall activity. And I just appreciate that level of, she could have been really upset that I'm sitting there in her classroom watching this, and this lesson is just, the technology didn't work. Likewise, Cami Doobie, a couple days ago, I'm in her fifth grade science class. They're working on testing plants and how much salination is in the dirt, whatever. And I'm trying to understand the science. And, and she puts something on the beginning of class that she puts in a notebook that everybody's supposed to follow her suit and put it in their notebook, and it ends up being the wrong thing, and so she has to tear it out. And again, it just, it just handled like no big deal. I made a mistake. It's okay. And I love that our kids are seeing that it's just not that big of a deal.
Right.
When something goes wrong, again, you just adapt and you go forward with it. So I've seen that a ton in many other areas. Teachers just having the resources, having the expertise. They've been there before, and they know what to do, and they don't waste time, which is most important because time is precious, right?
Yeah.
So there are been a lot of great things, but that sticks out to me lately that I've been noticing, because sometimes I make a mistake, I get mad. Right? I mean, don't you? I mean, maybe I'm crazy, but sometimes it's hard when you've been working on something so long, and it
can be frustrating.
And you're frustrated. And you're like, how do I handle this now? Oh man, better have a backup plan. So I'm just impressed by the quick thinking and just moving forward past it.
No, I've really appreciated the opportunity. I mean, it's in the 6th grade, we visited each other's classrooms, and we're kind of used to that. But it's the opportunity. My official observations have been of Pam Fisher and Mark Jewett. So not mathematicians, an English teacher and a scientist. And I really appreciated watching those guys teach, and just just seeing the way Pam handles class discussions, and then the way Mark uses manipulatives and just things to get kids super interested in the science. And from both of those observations, I took things away and I could apply them to math, and it's just been super useful.
That's the idea, right?
Yeah.
I'm excited about the direction that is heading, and I'm excited about Portrait of a Graduate. There's a lot going on here that's really good. Some of it is almost overwhelming, and so I think the key is maybe holding back on some things, going a little bit slower. But this is an exciting time at Park Tudor. It's an exciting time to be a teacher in general. And then when you have a school that will back you, will support you, is interested in your development, has the resources to make sure you are being developed, and you can go to, you just got back from an Isaacs conference where you presented and obviously do honor to our name as Park Tudor, but you also get that great practice of your master's work, right?
That's right.
And we just sent a host of teachers to the IFLTA, the foreign language conference, where I'm pretty sure 4 or 5. I mean, it was the most from any school were presenting, on comprehensible input. So we want Park Tudor to really share what we're doing here, and we want people to see these guys are spearheading everything. This is what a school should look like. These are what professional teachers look like. And just get that out in the community and work with others on what we're doing here and how I can change their schools and change the dynamic in their culture. So the reason I took this job in general, Park Tudor's name carries really a lot of weight in the independent school world, as you already know. But we were in Asheville, North Carolina, and this job comes up, and I immediately knew about Park Tudor's reputation and the academic excellence that is just beyond question now. I mean, just on any level of measurement, we are academically excellent and will continue to be. So what a great opportunity to work with so many teachers who are just, I guess, defying the eye. I mean, they're just unbelievable, right? So it's just a real pleasure. I mean, I do tell everybody that if they want, in my role, I get to observe everybody. But if you really want to pick me up, go down to the lower school and observe there, right? It is just, it is a wonderful thing to watch, and that staff down there has a really great thing going. Their kids are so excited, and they are pushing themselves to introduce new ways of teaching, and you just walk away with a real smile on your face, which, sometimes high school students are a little bit less inclined to be enthusiastic about some of the lessons. And that's natural developmentally, obviously, but so it's just a real joy to be able to go see so many teachers.
We're coming sort of towards the end of our time together, but
oh my goodness,
I know time flies when you're having fun. But I did want to ask you. I know there's conversations around campus about the use of space we have here right now.
Yeah.
We've got the master plan coming up in the new year, and that's pretty exciting to look forward to seeing what goes on with that. But in terms of how Neuroteach and Mastery Transcript and Portrait of Graduate, and how does all that play into our conversations around our use of space on campus?
Well, I think last night the alumni, we put them in the 3 rooms in the upper school that had just been recently renovated, and some of those chairs are really uncomfortable. You know what I mean? And so what we've done is said, all right, we're going to put some furniture in these classrooms that's clean, that's functional, and we really need to test it out. So we're kind of at that stage in the game where not everything you see now is just an idea of what is to come. Because we want our space to reflect our pedagogy, right? And a lot of that's going to look like, movable spaces, so that you can have group work, individual work, that you can create a reading corner, that you can bring everybody together. And that's actually really difficult to get that right, what kind of furniture can, belong here and accommodate everyone. And it's, you still have good space. But, there's other things that we need to consider, like, the old model of a classroom is I own that classroom and I put all my stuff in there, and there's so much around to see. And we know that's actually probably distracting. So just like there's a proximal level of discomfort for a challenge, there's also a proximal level to, in classroom wall space, and there's a fine balance. And again, it's one of those things. It's not a perfect science, but it's one of those things that we have to think about going forward. Like, what do we put up on a wall? How does it function with teaching English or teaching math? And is it useful to me, or is it just something I kind of holding on to? And actually, my wife doesn't let me, keep it at the house, so I put it in my classroom, or something like that. And so we really have to be intentional about that. Whereas we also want it to be a warm space. We also want it to be a welcoming space. And so it sounds like I'm, speaking out both sides of my mouth, but it really is a fine balance that we'll have to navigate going forward. But the master plan, again, should reflect, the same thing, that our curriculum moving forward. One thing I've been working on, particularly with a group, Kathy Madron and Laura Raz, and maybe one other, is looking at, we're in the group with the master plan, working on outdoor spaces. Yes. And it's tough because, with 45-minute classes and 5 minutes in between, well, where you place that outdoor class really matters. And we want, access for history and English, for example, in the upper school, but we also need, science to be able to go outside and as efficiently enough. And then there's the idea of, well, it's really cold right now. So can I go outside in November? And there are ways to do that, with heaters and so on and so forth. But we want to get kids outside more. I think that's important. And so we're looking at some of those outdoor spaces and how they may function for us. But everything has to come back to the way we want to teach. So it's just like I mentioned the iPads before. When iPads came out, everybody just said, all right, we're going to buy a bunch of iPads and get them in the kids' hands, right? This is it. Right. But nobody talked about why, or what would we do with them, or how would this improve our improve learning. And so a lot of those programs kind of failed, and some people have recovered and have figured it out. But we want to be that intentional of, let's not just bring it in, and let's not just change it this way, or let's not just throw a sexy new chair in because it's the latest model. We need to think, does this really function for the space? Does it function for how we want to teach? Does it function for history the same way it does for science, and so on and so forth? To be really intentional about that approach. So,
yeah. Excellent. We look forward to that. Well, thanks for joining us. It's been awesome to talk with you. And
thank you all so much for taking on. And some of you don't know this, but this 360 podcast is all these two, and they do all the work for it, and it's just quite amazing because it is a lot of work. And so this is a way of just getting information to parents, information to our community, and thank you guys for spearheading this. Because you're the ones driving it, so we really are grateful to you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's been awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Brent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was Brent Kaneft, Director of Curriculum and Instruction here at Park Tudor School. Join us next time as we chat with Professor Laurie DeSotels of Butler University about emotions and their role in teaching and learning.